Hi, my name's Ellie Rose. Welcome to my studio. This past month I've been putting together a specialty kit for you all, which basically is my essentials kit or my botanical resin starter kit, but minus some of the basics, because what I want to do is give you guys something that will sort of build on what you already know. I think as an artist it's super important to continue to grow and learn new things and challenge yourself, and this is what I'm aiming to do. So I put together these specialty kits because basically that's what they are. They're a specialty. So I've collected something really awesome, which is Kangaroo paw, which is endemic to WA, and I stumbled across it because I was driving through the Swan Valley where I live, and it's yellow. I kind of like yellow, and I bought it and thought it would be an awesome way to kind of challenge myself because it's a really unusual shape. It's long and thin, and it's also yellow and furry, and it's sharp and soft. So I thought it was a really good little challenge for myself, and I really wanted to share it with you all as well and see what you guys create with it, because we're all going to create something different.
But here's a further thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to share a little bit more joy with you all and put this artwork in one of the specialty kits. So someone is going to receive this artwork and not know until they receive it, which I think is bloody brilliant. And I'd be super excited to get it in the mail personally. So one of the first things I do when I get a new plant is to really analyze what the structure is and to pull it apart. And I find the easiest way to do this is to use pliers. I like to pull them apart, identify the biggest structures and the smallest structures, and have a bunch of all of them, and sort of get a rough idea and feel for what I want to create, how they sit together, how they respond to one another. And then once I'm happy with that, I'll get started. The mold was a little bit wobbly, so I decided to reinforce it with some pop sticks. I cut them down and I sticky taped them together and then put them around the piece. This just makes sure that it's a little bit more square when I go to use it, and then the artwork is going to stand up. I have this general idea in my head about how I want this to look. They weren't responding to one another how I thought they would, and it was looking very banana-y. I'm not a fan. So you can see how very quickly I'm like, eh. So what I decided to do was just try something completely different and literally flip it on its head. So I started turning all the plants upside down and change it to possibly kind of like a chain of hearts. I had this crazy idea once when I was like driving home, and I had this idea, like, what if plants were aliens and they were in charge of us, not the other way around? What if they were like coming down from the sky and they were telling us what to do? I wonder what they would say. So occasionally I go all Space Invaders, and yeah, it's kind of the direction I was going in. But again, I couldn't stop thinking about bananas, and especially that bunch on the right there. So I very quickly was like, no, change it again, and decided to go with more like a, I guess, like a water bath feel. I spend a fair bit of time daydreaming about how things move and what would happen if I was to be able to fly, and what would happen if I just floated in water, and how would things move, and why do things move the way they do. What it would look like if I threw all this stuff into the water. And I love the freeness, and I don't know, it's like breathing fresh air. And I love the fact that you get this sense of relief, like you can really analyze the parts of that plant without actually seeing it. I actually think that the best way for us to really appreciate art, appreciate natural pattern, and is to like take them out of context completely, see them in a different way, and then maybe we'd be able to appreciate them in the context that they're originally from. So I let that set for 24 hours and then came back to it. This is total cast again. I let all the bubbles come out of the plants and then gone back over it with the heat gun, and you can see them all popping. Once I can see that the bubbles that want to come out have, I'll go back over it with a toothpick. I call it a plant placement stick because it's a fancier word. And then I've placed my logo in there, which is just printed on acetate, and then I cut it up into little squares and put it in, and it's, yeah. I left that set until I can touch it without it sort of changing. And then I pull it out of the mold and give it a good go over with a sharp knife. A little bit too much, so I was immediately like, oh no. So again, this is just a really thin layer, so 0.2 centimeters or 2 millimeters, and all I've done is length, width, height to calculate how much resin I needed, and I basically do it as thin as possible without it sort of pulling away from itself. If you do it too thin, it kind of does these little pulls all over and you don't get a nice clean finish. Where I cut it too deep, it was threatening to overflow, so I put some low adhesive tape on the side, and that protects it from leaking over the edge. I changed my idea 3 times before I finally settled on something that I liked. I let myself keep pushing, and I'm so glad that I did. So as soon as the artwork was finished, I had my assistant catalogue it and wrap it up and put it into one of these awesome specialty kits. So I cannot wait to see what you guys do with them. I think there's not enough opportunity for community these days, and especially with COVID, we are all in our insular little worlds. This is a brilliant way for us to build community and sort of challenge each other. It doesn't matter where you are, we can all join in. Thank you so much for watching. I cannot wait to see what you create. Let me know if you have any questions. Please follow me on Instagram, on YouTube. Click the little subscribe button and the bell so you know when it's done. I am super new at YouTube, so I really appreciate your support, guys. Cannot wait to see what happens. Good luck, and thank you so much for watching.